Dear Harstem, I hope you are doing well. I think it is not fair that Terran mules are just made from thin air and do not cost any resources or time to produce. One may be just a lazy Imba abuser that only spams Reapers at the start of the game while playing random, and when their opponent, like a proper Gosu Grandmaster, stops his harass, just boom! And Terran skyrockets their mineral gathering in a blink of an eye with this Imba mules. The noble space techno-wizard race that everybody acknowledges is superior to filthy humans and disgusting space bugs, just do not have such mechanics to instantly power up their eco. I had superior macro like a Grandmaster. I've built my probes, I didn't stop production, I even controlled my units. But once he spammed his mules, he got income lead and an army lead. So my question is mule spam after failed initial pressure Imba? Or do I suck? This was sent in by the Uber Gosu, a Protoss player from Europe in Platinum League at 2750 MMR with a simple question. Is Terran Imba? Or does he suck? Let's figure it out. The Mule is actually a very interesting unit, and especially the speed at which it pays itself back, right? If you build an orbital command, which costs 150 minerals, you will get all that money that the orbital costs back within the use of your first Mule, as a Mule returns 225 minerals if it is cast on one of the close-by patches. 200 if you cast on one of the faraway patches, which still would give you the money back. So about 40-45 seconds for you to get that return on investment. Now, we shouldn't forget that the orbital command also costs time to build. So instead of having 2 extra SCVs, you get an orbital command, which can then cast the Mule. So yes, Mules are generally a huge upside for the Terran. It is absolutely a phenomenal tool for the Terran to stay even on eco with the other races, but have the ability to outmine the other races when you're on equal basis with an equal worker count. Because Mules, they can ignore regular saturation. So the Mule, it is absolutely a great economic tool. Like, there are lots of scenarios in which the Mule feels extremely powerful. There's also lots of scenarios in which the Terran eco feels really weak because their workers produce quite slow. They don't have an inject, they don't have chrono boost, so they need to rely on the Mule. Sometimes they might want to scan in order to deal with invisible units, or mainly with invisible units or borrowed units, and they lose a lot of income due to that, which they feel like they usually would have. So they're prepared for spending a lot of minerals, but then they have to use 2, 3, 4 scans, and all of a sudden they might have too much production or they can't spend that money. So it's a double-edged sword for sure, the Mule. It is a very interesting mechanic. It's one of the more interesting economic mechanics that we have in this game, as Uber Gosu here scouts a triple Rex Reaper with double gas. Well, he doesn't know it's Reaper yet, but I think he's going to be capable of figuring this out. You see 3 barracks, no add-ons, and the first unit is a Reaper. This doesn't feel like a pylon to stop a supply block from happening, but I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of this pylon is. XXXX here. He was looking at that pylon and was like, I don't think he can do anything with it, but just in case, I'm gonna kill it. Just in case he can do something with it. Response here should be probably instant Stargate and double battery. You're playing against 3 Rex Reaper and it is extremely obvious, right? What else could it be? We have Barracks 1, Barracks 2, Barracks 3, double gases, and the first unit you spotted was a Reaper. No reactors, no tech labs, no nothing. The robotics facility, I mean, it is a building you can build. It just doesn't really have the same impact on the game as an Oracle or a Void Ray would have in this particular scenario. We also don't have a single battery yet. This is quite possibly the worst response to one of the most obvious build orders. This is not harass, this is a 3 Rex Reaper all-in pretty much. Like, this needs to deal very significant damage in order for this game to even be remotely even. These 3 Reapers are just kind of roaming around, getting 3 kills. This reminds me a little bit of when I was a younger kid. You'd sometimes get invitations, and it would be something like, you've been invited to the 6th birthday of little Johnny. It will be a surprise as to what activity we're gonna do, but be sure to take your swim gear and a towel in case you get wet. It's like, all right, we're gonna go swimming. You know, most people manage to figure that out. It's gonna be one idiot who's like, huh? What's it gonna be? That guy was Uber Gosu. Uber Gosu is capable of seeing 3 barracks, double gas, and a Reaper, and then wonders what the hell else is gonna come out of these freaking barracks. It's like, it can be either a Marine or a Reaper. As there are no tech labs, you've already seen the indication of a Reaper coming out, and you see an infinite amount of gas being mined. It's like, to me it is clear as day what's gonna happen. However, our good friend Uber Gosu managed to lose 11 workers to this fully scouted build, which honestly is impressive in and by itself. It is difficult to have a response this poor against a build this non-existent. Follow-up is more Reapers here, as well as 2 extra command centers. Sorry, 3 extra command centers. 3 extra command centers and a factory. So if you were to scout this, if you're Uber Gosu, there's like 2 things you can do. Number 1, you can probably kill your opponent by walking across the map, warping in a sentry, use Guardian Shield and just walk in here, win the game pretty much. Or what you could also do is out-expand your opponent. You know you're not going to get attacked anytime soon. So what you do instead of killing your opponent, you just go like, okay, I'm going to build as many bases as my opponent, and I'm going to be chrono boosting probes like a madman. And in that case, the Protoss player actually is capable of boosting his eco much faster than what the Terran can do. Because the Terran SCV production is slower than the Protoss probe production, which is, yeah, it's just a sad thing for the Terran, but they can't help it, you know? Right now we're going to go up to 4 orbital commands. Meanwhile, Uber Gosu continues building more batteries, warps in 2 more Stalkers as well, and cuts worker production, just in case he's gonna die to the Reaper all-in. He has 9 Stalkers and 1 Immortal versus 7 Reapers. He also currently has 1 battery in the main, 2 batteries in the natural. So I feel like we're pretty freaking safe to whatever XXXX can throw at us right now. But we haven't scouted anything, so no 3rd base on the way, no follow-up tech, just pure Immortal. What is this Observer doing here? I've seen this before. I don't even think this Observer provides more vision than the Assimilator does. Get like a little bit of extra here. What is this for? Like, put it in the dead space, fly it across the map, get some actual info. These are things that are useful in my mind, but this is not it. This is not it, my friend. We still have 0 information. We have no follow-up tech. Hey, imagine you know your opponent has 3 racks. Like, no matter what you think the follow-up is going to be, it probably would be wise for you to get some type of splash, right? 3 racks usually leads into more Marines, maybe more Mass Reaper, and some Marauders. You already have freaking 2 Immortals out. I think getting a Robo Bay here, or trying to rush out Storm, even if you're completely unwilling to scout at this point, is a very fair thing to do. I think it is absolutely the correct move to go for. Instead, we're going to go for a Forge and a Twilight Council, adding in a 3rd, as well as a 4th Immortal. Observer still consistently scouting our own battery double Assimilator, one of which is only mining with a single worker. Now moving into our 3rd base as well. Double medevac chilling at home. Income is actually slightly higher here for XXX due to the existence of the quadruple mule. Yes, he did invest into a 3rd base. Yes, he did invest into a 4th base. And yes, there was a very long period in which if Uber Gosu ever would have moved across the map, he probably would have just straight up won the game. But if we ignore all of these extra factors, I think it is clear as day that the mule is very strong in this particular situation. Yes, it was an investment to get. And yes, he could have died, but right now he's alive and has 4 CCs. This guy's freaking flying in the eco. By the way, still even in supply, which is interesting to note. Usually even supply Protoss to even supply Terran. Protoss is considered quite far ahead. So despite the 11 worker loss and the unchecked eco expansion on the side of the Terran, I feel like our Protoss player is actually in a very decent position. Like, economy right now is better due to not all mules being used. Scan was used earlier. Some of them are being saved up in case he wants to scan later. It's like just the fear of DTs being there is enough to already kind of cut into the eco. So this defense is going to consist of Stalker, Sentry without energy, and 4 Immortals against the Marine Marauder Reaper army. I think... Oh, it's a pre-stim if I've ever seen one. this is not entirely a brilliant fight. One could even say this was a pretty mediocre fight, if I'm being honest. This might have actually been one of the worst fights that I've seen in my life. No Guardian Shield due to no energy. A move command, or like a moving into the grenades, making sure that the Immortals get boosted out of the way. Not having a superior concave to your opponent, despite having superior concave area. To me, this feels like the type of game where you look at it and you go like, you watch the replay. I did absolutely everything wrong. Let's just pretend this game never happened and continue on. Ubergosu went for a different approach instead, sending me the email that this might be imbalanced due to the MULE. I'm not entirely sure if he realizes what the MULE does. The MULE is not like a magic tool that the moment you have an orbital, you have infinite eco. Like, the Terran could have done this push at 9 minutes, I'm pretty sure, off of a single base, without mules, only scanning. Like, at least for Ubergosu, I guess he has scouted at this point, but for a long time this might as well have been a single base, because he had legitimately zero clue as to what the hell was happening here. Like, this is nothing to do with the MULE being too strong. This is more to do with you building no splash whatsoever, despite scouting a triple Rex opener, you losing 11 workers to 7 Reapers, despite completely scouting exactly what your opponent was doing. Can we blame the MULE for that? Yes, we can. But I don't think it's justified in this case. And that can only, sadly, lead us to one conclusion, Mr. Ubergosu. And that is that you suck. And that's the way it is. It's going to be it for today's episode of Is It Imba or Do I Suck? If you did enjoy this and you think you have something that is truly imbalanced, be sure to send it in using the form down below. Thanks so much for watching, and bye-bye.